Achievement unlocked. 2 players and a podcast now loading.
Welcome back, Dreamers and Flam family. This is 2 Peas in a Pod, brought to you by GeneralAndrews and
Flibbityflam.
And we are sponsored by the 8-Bit Dojo and ESN, where we aim to be selfless, not selfish. Also today with us, our guest StephOfAnime will be joining. This is episode 12 of season 2, favorite anime heroes, heroines, and villains and villainesses. All right, what has happened, everybody? We got StephOfAnime over here. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for
Absolutely.
being with us.
Flibbityflam, how are you doing today, dude?
I'm good. I got my coffee. I'm ready to roll. It's time to do it.
Okay. I'm telling you, this is going to be a battle almost. You know, we're not going to try to one up each other here, but we got a lot to talk about. We got heroes, heroines, villains, and villainesses potentially for our top 2 each. I mean, is anyone excited about this, or is it just me?
Oh, I'm so excited. And I brought some really interesting picks because I don't know if they're going to be controversial or not. So I wanted to have a really big conversation because especially when it comes to heroes and villains, you can define those two things in totally different ways. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to be hitting us with the hard questions today. At least that's what I'm coming here to do. And anytime I get to talk about anything anime related, I'm so fired up. Like, I'm very excited.
Like, is it fair for me to assume you like anime a lot because your name is StephOfAnime?
StephOfAnime.
Oh my gosh, it's actually my grandmaster plan is I figured if I put anime in the title, someone can see that and be like, my people. I see that she is of culture. And so I totally put that in there so that people who are interested in anime can know that I'm also interested in anime, and it's worked great.
That's awesome. Because honestly, like when I saw that, I was like, okay, immediately I gotta give at least 5 minutes here. Go. So it totally worked on me. I'm just gonna say that for sure. Let alone, obviously, it was always nice interacting with any other incident. But I'm like, I think there's one of my people.
Oh, I love
There
it
they
so
are.
much. My favorite thing is when someone will be like, so what's your favorite anime? I'm like, oh, let me give you my top 3. I just start going in.
Rolls out the parchment. It's like, let's go. I've got
Yeah.
time.
All right.
Exactly.
So let's go get this rolling. I'm assuming we're going to be going and talking for quite a while here. Let's start with the number 2s, and we'll go with the good first, or the hero heroine. Then we'll go villain villainess, and we'll go down the line. So let's go ahead and start with your number 2, Steph. Then we can roll into like Flib and then myself, or vice versa, and we'll go from that way. So
Good format.
what is your number 2 hero or heroine of anime?
So this was such a tough question, and I'm really curious for all of you listeners at home what your number 2 hero is. Definitely let us know. But I actually went the route that not all heroes wear capes, right? And so my number 2 hero is actually Toru Honda from Fruits Basket. So if you guys know Fruits Basket, it's a slice of life anime, and the main character, she is just the embodiment of kindness and warmth, and honestly just a role model to I think a lot of people, and the hero to a lot of friends like in her circle and in her like what is considered her new family in the show.
people.
And so
Interesting.
Yeah.
My people.
and so I really look up to that sort of kindness that she has and just being a good person, because I live for, your All Mights and your big like heroes that are in the superhero
Yes.
anime, your shonens, all that sort of stuff. And I think they have a really prevalent role to play, in people's lives as well. But I just think there's also something really special about just the people who are just genuine, and someone you can look up to who is just like you, right? Or someone you can strive to be that's very realistic. And so that's why I picked her for my number 2 heroine.
You know why I like that is because one thing I try to always get across to anybody that maybe is a on the fence anime or weeb, that sometimes it's hard to convince them, like, hey, you should maybe try this one out. Like, I don't know, it might be a little bit this, it might be a little bit, they're kind of skeptical of different things because a lot of anime is very quote unquote extreme.
Yes.
Right.
extreme silly, extreme funny, extreme dark, extreme intense, all these different angles. And for me, I appreciate that because I feel like there's been so much sugarcoating, at least living in America and whatnot, that there's a lot of sugarcoating on stuff where it's unnecessary. And anime is such a beautiful gap in that because, again, it provides that surrealism because it's in a cartoon format, right? Versus, live action. Don't get me started on live action anime. Anyway.
I could talk about that for a long time too. Oh gosh.
So I really like that you brought up that where it's almost kind of like, I'm not going to call it a safe pick per se, right? But it's along the line.
It's so different because it's from a slice of life anime. And I didn't even know slice of life animes existed until this year.
Oh my gosh, really?
I had
recommendations.
no
Let me
idea.
tell you. I honestly, I so resonate with that. There are so many different genres for, every kind of fan out there. And so I love that so much.
Like, because a lot of people automatically assume when you bring up anime, they're going to think DBZ. I love DBZ, folks, but they think DBZ, they think maybe Sailor Moon, and then what's one more? I guess One Piece now is the big prevalent one because there's just so many episodes out there. So, it kind of gets lumped into that. And it's like, and believe me, I haven't watched One Piece from beginning to end, but point being is that all these are really good anime, but that's not the only anime. There's so much more to it. And slice of life, I really enjoy those so much more than I thought I would. I thought it'd be mostly an action. And if it wasn't action, it was going to be more of the suspense thriller, psychological thriller ones. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're going to die. Stuff like that, right? And so the slice of life animes have really made a big difference. Like my favorite happy cry anime is actually How to Keep a Mummy.
Yeah, because
that's where my emos come from. That little tiny Mukun, someone might think that might be one of my, and actually it's not. I got other ones, but my favorite happy cry anime is that because it's just so wholesome.
It's so wholesome, it hurts.
Yes, it's so wholesome, it hurts. Like you're like, oh my gosh, it's only 12 episodes long, so you can easily binge it in a couple of nights, type of situation. But it's just such a feel good. So when you brought up fruit baskets and talking about slice of life, I hope people realize slice of life anime is out there and it's really good.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. It's so funny when people always ask me for recommendations. The first question I ask them is, what sort of Western shows do you like? What genres do you like? Because that's the thing is, I feel like anime, like you said, it can scare people off because there's also a lot of niche elements to anime that kind of have been built into the culture, and some, showcase it more than others. And so I always try to kind of look for a show that fits into a genre someone's already comfortable with and has less, I guess, cultural references. Like there are some things once you've watched a few types of anime, like you'll get, oh, this is like a thing that's popular in Japan, so this is a trope that exists there that's not in the West. And so that's something that I think you have to learn over time, or it can be just difficult for people to understand why it's so enjoyable.
How do they have kitten ears? It's like, well, that's a trope that goes in
or
there.
even like a bloody nose, when like they see someone's skirt, like that's such a niche thing.
Why are they holding their head back? Like, are they gonna be all right? And it's like, no, it's okay.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Flibbityflam, I'm going to transition to you. Who is your number 2 hero or heroine?
Number 2 hero. So I definitely went more the traditional route for this one, and I had just finished for the first time the first season of One Punch Man, and I really liked Saitama.
No way!
Saitama.
I did not expect that answer. I did not expect that answer from you. I want to hear more. Tell me more.
He's just great because he's just like, I just worked out a lot and I got really strong. That's how I did this. and he's like so powerful to the point where he's just bored. And I thought that was very different.
Like kind of like almost like expressionless kind of a face a lot of the time.
Oh, he's so funny. And can I just say, my recent Pokemon team that I've been using for competitive Pokemon, I named them all after One Punch Man characters. So the fact that you say that has me really hyped. Like that's just one of those shows where you just watch him and you feel inspired. You're like, wow, like that's just awesome.
I'm glad you bring that up. That inspiration, right? I've had a viewer. I won't name them if they don't want to be named. Hopefully, so I'm just gonna. They'll know if they're listening to this. They would come in and tell me how they were progressing on their. If I say this correctly, Satima.
I always say Saitama, but I don't think
Saitama. Okay, Saitama routine, right? And
Yeah.
that's what they were doing to push themselves. And they're asking me what I thought about that. I'm like, well, if it works for you, great. Obviously, it's not what I would have told someone to do, but it got them motivated to push themselves, which inspiration, right? Like this person probably already was dedicated to wanting to work out and they needed something new to reinvigorate themselves. And that anime, right, as silly as it might be, created inspiration in them, right? It wasn't meant to necessarily be a motivational anime. We're like, this is going to make everyone they're going to be healthier people because of this anime. No, they did it because they thought it would be funny. They thought it'd be entertaining. And yet it also was able to drive through to other people as a motivational, inspirational piece. I'm glad you brought that up. That was so cool.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And I think something else that's really cool about One Punch Man as a show is that I love that it's also a satire on the shonen genre. It's pretty much making fun of and poking
that's
at
what
all
I
of these
loved
invincible characters who just go out their days beating people up like it's nothing. And then you have Saitama, who is literally bored out of his mind because he's like, yeah, I'm just this strong. Like,
I'm just so strong it doesn't even matter.
Right. I live for that. I think that that's so creative, and I think that just makes him a very likable character. So yeah.
That was strong on that. Again, you guys are coming out of the gates here,
straight out the
swinging,
gate,
just swinging.
Now, what you got for us, Jen?
All right. I hope everyone is ready for this one. My number 2 is actually Akira Takizawa. And for those of you that don't know who Akira Takizawa is from the anime Eden of the East.
Oh, I haven't seen that show in so many years. I love that show. Continue.
No, you're great. I'm glad. See, hopefully other people are like, oh yeah, right? And Eden of the East is like an 11 episode, and it's an 11 episode series, and then two anime movies that complete the entire story arc, right? And what I really enjoy about that character is literally his pure selflessness for others. So when you're watching it, you might not understand what the heck is going on because they're throwing this angle here, this angle there, but overall, the reason he's doing anything and everything is he sees there's a bigger path before him and his personal interests don't matter. And to me, I constantly bring this up all the time with whatever issues, social issues and the like, where it's so hard to find somebody who's actually unflappable. Right. So if those who don't know unflappable means that someone is obviously, you cannot persuade them to do anything but what their current path is. And hopefully it's a highly ethical path that they're taking. And so him, like that to me, there's my reinvigoration in my belief of what is possible with the human, the human mind, the human psyche is to be able to do something of that magnitude, which if you watch the anime, I'm not going to blow it, but of that magnitude, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty intense. And he just handles it like such a champion. Like it's just
I need to rewatch that show now because it's so funny. It's been so many years since I've watched it, but I have so many memories just remembering that I really enjoyed that show. I don't remember all the specifics because it's been 10 years, but it's also like I remember nothing but good feelings when I finished it. So I gotta rewatch it. It's time.
Hello, Juice. I need to send Flibbityflam a copy.
Yes. I know. You're like, oh, this is great. And I'm like, yeah. Sounds fantastic. Sure.
But yeah, so I really, really enjoy that character because of that. And again, I had a whole other list, but I was thinking, you know what? If I'm really thinking about quote unquote a good hero, he fits that bill as much as if you watch the anime, you might not really understand that he is supposed to be a hero. And it was just so good. Okay. Heroes, though, yeah, all right. What's the fun of only talking about heroes or heroines? Let's get some villains or villainesses. What's your number 2, Steph?
Ooh, all right. So here's where things get a little spicy.
Yes, that's what I was thinking for. Woo!
Yeah, so I picked Kira from Death Note as my villain of choice.
Okay. It's so interesting. Before you go on your bit, I'm just going to put this out there. I was thinking about putting him as a spicy number 2 for a hero. Go ahead. I want to hear all of this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. And I think the reason why he's so interesting and why I thought he would be perfect for us to talk about is because not everyone considers him a villain. And honestly, it's up to you as the viewer to determine whether his motives are pure or not. And it really comes down to your ethics. And I think there's a lot of conversation to be had around this whole battle between Elle and Kira throughout the show. If you guys don't know about Death Note, it's basically this crime, without spoiling too much. It's like pretty much like in that crime genre where, you know, you've got a detective and you've got some mysteries that are happening. And it's hard because I go through that show and part of me really roots for him. But at the same time, he is killing people and he is hurting a lot of people. And so I also can't in good consciousness fully feel okay. And it also reminds me of just like, I think is the term Machiavellian, the ends justify the means, right?
Right. Yes, correct.
And so because I don't know the answer to that, I can't help but I think that this conflict, this like moral conflict makes me love him as a character so much because it makes me really think. So yeah. So,
Flib, though, are you with it that he's a villain, or what do you think?
I think when we watched that, like I thought nothing more than he was a villain. He was a villain that I could actually hate too. Like I did not like him at all.
I remember that's why I had that I remember him being like, dude, oh man, this guy sucks. I'm like, keep watching some more.
This guy sucks and he keeps getting away with it. I don't understand
how he can't get away with it. I'm like, just keep watching. Because so from my angle, right, here's how I feel about him. If I was to talk about him as a hero, initially, he has a very good and poignant way that he wants to achieve said acts of change for the good, right? However, even though obviously his means to be able to do that, having a death note, you know, is not quite, you know, I would say ethical in that regard. But again, this is an anime, so we have to, you know, expand our mind here to work within this perspective.
Right.
Problem is after he had that power and was getting away with it, he then changes. So he goes from a hero, a little bit of an anti-hero, to then, to me, a pure villain when it's all said and done, right? And my hope was that, is there a point in time that he finally realizes and he pulls it back? But you have to watch the anime to know, does he actually exercise those demons? Or, as Steph has said, he's her number 2 villain. That's it. So that was my take on it, where that's where I could kind of like, it's a spicy, good hero only because he starts out like that, but he becomes a very fallen angel in my opinion as time goes on.
I could totally agree with that. But, you know, it's really interesting because when it comes to who I'm picking as like a favorite villain, I almost feel like they need that sort of either character development or growth for me to like them, because it's almost like if they're too evil, I think I can't even bring myself to like them, right? I think that's a testament to still great character writing. I think if you feel very emotionally about any sort of character, it should be written incredibly well. But for me to put them as a villain that I really like, I feel like I think it's that complexity that makes it for me.
When you said emotion, that like literally, I wish we were actually recording live camera. I've got goosebumps because that to me is why I enjoy anime, why I will have some characters that I obviously love more than others, good or bad, because literally I'm invoking emotions. Right. And that to me is good writing, good way of presenting it. Even if it is over the top, they presented it correctly because I got emotionally affected by it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think there's something about the storytelling that's done in anime that's just really beautiful. And that's why I love it so much. And I think that it's something that we should spread to everybody.
I totally agree. All right, Flib, I think we need to spread number 2 of your villains or villainesses.
This is my favorite. I love villains.
Right, exactly.
In any aspect. I mean, I've loved the Empire and Star Wars. Like I've loved villains. So my number 2 villain, which was hard for me to narrow down, is from Jen's favorite anime.
Ooh.
Trigun. Legato Blue Summers.
Wow, what a good choice. So Flip, why though? Why? I mean, he's pretty fucked up, man.
He's very fucked up.
So I mean,
his whole mission in life from the moment he was created is to cause Vash pain, and that's it. And that's all. That's what he does.
It's oh my gosh, it's the truth. Like not just him pain. I was in pain.
Yeah.
I'm a viewer. I'm not even there. I'm safe, right? I was in pain. That's a good choice. He is very what's the word I'm looking for? His whole standoffish and calm demeanor of it all too really just like was like a wrench in the side. It's like, how can you be so like normal about all this?
Right, desensitized.
Desensitized. Thank you. That was the
Yeah.
better word. It's like how like no, I've got a mission. We're sticking to the plan. We're going. It's like
it's like
oh my
sociopathy taken to the next level.
Right,
his
right.
character.
That is such a good one. I'm glad you brought that one up. I didn't even think of that one initially when I was going through all my different ones when it came to villains. So that's a good one. I like that.
I love this. I feel like we've tackled so many different angles, which is I think that's also a testament to just how diverse anime is. It's so cool.
Right? Oh, all right. You guys ready for mine?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So now with this one, again, you might be able to take a different angle than thinking it's just a bad guy, right? So this villain is actually from FMA. This villain is Greed.
Oh my gosh, that's an amazing pick.
So when I was talking about emotions earlier, Greed's character, especially his character development throughout the entirety of the series, is just like I remember like every time I've watched that episode, I'm not going to ruin it for anyone who hasn't watched it. Literally, I cry because it's so good.
I assume we're talking Brotherhood here.
Brotherhood, because obviously it's a little bit different in the original.
It's
FMA Brotherhood is what I referenced.
And
he was entertaining in the other one, but like there's serious depth to his character in Brotherhood. And oh my gosh, like just the way of how he's so standoffish at first, but like it's so great how the Elrics can look right through it. They see right through his his demeanor, trying to like, nah, what, that doesn't really make sense, buddy, and how he talks about, because Greed, right, the ever vicious, is he wants money, he wants women, he wants power, he wants it all, right? And what's so great is once you start to learn his whole story, he finally actually is truthful with himself, and that is just
oh my god, it's so good. I think he's one of the best written characters in that show. Holy cow. I love his dynamic with Ling too. It's so beautiful. Oh my gosh.
So poetic. And I really like when animes can hit a poetic poignancy of their characters. And I feel what they did with Ling and Greed was just was so good.
Oh wow, what a good pick. Like that's my favorite anime is Fullmetal Brotherhood. So for you to pick a character, I didn't even think about him, and yet that makes so much sense, and I'm behind it.
Thank you.
He's probably my top 3. Like there you go.
I snuck that one in there. Okay. So enough of me and gushing over that awesomeness of Greed. Let's get back here to now some real heavy hitters. We got some number ones coming up.
Numero unos.
All right. So Steph, number 1 hero or heroine, go.
Oh, so this is actually very funny because I picked something from Fullmetal Alchemist and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and I picked, for very personal reasons, Edward Elric for my number 1 hero.
I was curious because all of us here, if you didn't know, all of us love Fullmetal Alchemist. Yeah. You have Fullmetal Alchemist emotes. Flib has Fullmetal Alchemist emotes. I have Fullmetal Alchemist emotes. So it's awesome. I was hoping someone was going to say Edward. Let's hear it.
Oh my gosh, there's so many reasons. First of all, I just think his whole character development through the show is something that really resonates with me, and also I think has impacted the way that I've grown up too, with this whole idea that you have to keep moving forward, no matter what obstacles are in your way, no matter what hardships you face, you have 2 good legs, you should walk on them and use them. And I think that the messages that are told through like his story and his brother's story and the rest of the characters is something that is really special, and it's something that I personally try to utilize in my day-to-day life. So I feel like who else to pick as my number 1 hero than somebody who I literally think of whenever I'm going through hard times,
That is awesome. Gosh, it's so true. I love Edward Elric, and my favorite part of Edward Elric would be him and his brother's connection.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's so electric. It's so magnetized. Like I need to be there. I realize this. I see this myself, and I can feel it. And I know when I was able to watch it with Flibbityflam a couple of years ago as a part of Anime Night, like it was so. I'm like, so what do you think? And like Flib, you could say what you think or whatever.
Man, it was nuts because I'd only seen the original. That was the first time watching Brotherhood. And I would just be like spitting theories of what's going to happen next.
Yes, I loved it.
He'd have to keep his mouth shut because sometimes I'd be right on track.
He would be right on. So I'm like, no, I can't. I'm like, I guess. I mean, that's a pretty good thing. I did my best to play cool.
Oh my gosh, such a gorgeous show, but really just the growth too. It's like you have these very imperfect characters, and they have to go through so much. And I think that's why I like him so much. Is he really is he can be like short tempered and kind of a jerk at times, but you can tell he's so good hearted. And so
don't call me short.
Yeah. I love him so much, and so I love that show so much. But I think he's also a big part of what makes that show what it is. So yeah.
And to finish on him with that, one of my favorite scenes of him throughout the entire anime is when he is at the doors, and I'll just leave it there for anybody who has not seen that, and he's pointing.
Oh my God, episode 26, yes.
Yeah.
I know it very well.
Like that, oh man, again, the goosebumps are coming back out. It's just like, it was so like, yes.
Oh, it's so bad, guys. I can literally quote most of the show. I've watched it so many times because it's my favorite. I agree. That's one of my favorite episodes. It's so good.
All right. Enough of me just going off tangents here. I can do that all night. Flibbityflam, number one hero or heroine?
Oh, God, excuse me. So, since we are talking heroes, I think I should bring up My Hero Academia.
Ooh, I did not expect this.
Because I did finally just finish that up until where it is. But my favorite's not the main character, Deku in it. Not Deku, no, it's Lemillion. Mirio Togata.
Interesting. Okay.
Who's
Fill me in, because I have yet to catch into this anime, so I'm waiting to. I'm going to. But give me some.
Please do.
He basically has, like, everybody has these quirks, right? And his particular quirk is that he can phase through stuff, but it's extremely difficult. So he had to put tons of work in to use it, but then he became very, very good at it, and he's extremely selfless in
oh my God, yes,
that's cool.
What he does, and the reason he's called Lemillion is because he wants to save 1 million people.
That is, I like that. That is a really cool twist into his name. Okay.
Oh my gosh, do you read I'm not going to spoil anything, of course, for any of our viewers, but do you read the manga for My Hero? Because
no.
Oh my God. It just gets better. Like, he is a fantastic character, and I think that's a great choice.
That's what I've heard too, yeah.
Well, I'm excited to eventually catch this. So that's your number one. I like it.
Yeah,
I feel like we could talk so much about My Hero Academia, because even just from the soundtrack, I've raved about this multiple times on Twitter. You Say so Run good. Is one of the most inspiring tracks. Like, whenever I need to hype myself up, I genuinely feel like I can give myself a pep talk and a self monologue when I listen to the soundtrack for My Hero. Like, it's so beautiful, and I think it's so
I've never had an episode make me cry so much like a bitch.
I'm crying 5 minutes into episode 1 of My Hero, and now there's 50 episodes later. I'm still crying when I hear the OST.
See,
that's a lot of tears.
Yeah, there's a lot of tears in the first couple episodes, and I was kind of hesitant at first, but my buddy was like, "Stick with it, you'll like it," and I'm glad I did.
Oh, wow. So good. Please put that on a priority list to watch, because it's so beautiful.
Well, obviously, you guys are convincing me that I'm going to have to do this.
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
It's only 4 seasons. It's not very long.
Yeah, and it's one of those anime where, I feel like a lot of people will, I won't say like hate on what's mainstream, but there are a lot of people who are like, well, everyone's talking about this, it's overhyped. Like, I don't think you can overhype this show. I think that the reason why it's so popular is because it resonates with so many people and is just such a good shonen. Like, I feel like it's been a while since we've had like a shonen that like is brand new that people are really getting behind. You know, everyone's fans of your Dragon Balls, your Fairy Tales, your Naruto's, your Bleaches. I've been around for, you know, almost a decade at this point, or decade depending. This is like it's a new show, so the animation is gorgeous, and the story and the heart is there. So,
it's written extremely well.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I was already sold. Now I'm buying shares of it. All right, I'm buying stocks. Literally, I'm like, okay, how can I get dividends reinvested in this thing? Because this sounds like a good freaking deal.
Yes.
All right, I'm sure some of you out there already know who my number one hero is.
I have a feeling.
I mean, I have emotes of said individual. My favorite, and he wears red. He literally wears red. His name is Vash the Stampede,
Vash!
the $60 billion double dollar humanoid typhoon. So good old Vash. Again, I'm sure you could kind of tell the theme of my heroes that I really enjoy has to do with the idea of this pureness. This the real world is out here, and they're not going to change their personal, you know, vendettas, their personal belief systems, what they have the scope in their mind of what it is to be a good person, and they continue to do that in the face of constant either attacks, constant manipulation, constantly put in a position, okay, well, you can't save both people, pick one. And it's like, wait, what? No, I'm going to save both people. You know what I mean? Because that's the value that nobody's life is greater than an other's. And to go and tie in to what Flibbityflam brought up in regards to his second favorite villain, that exchange between those two is literally like, for those that haven't watched, I'm not going to spoil it, but it is heart-wrenching.
Yes, it is.
It is so heart-wrenching once you get to that point, and it's only a 26 episode anime. Right, it's not very long. It's from that what they call the golden era of anime, where they had that they could get 26 episodes for a season. That's all you needed was one season. You're like, wow, that was really good. That it was just so big of a deal to me that he stands for this. And honestly, though, hidden deep down, he's a badass.
Yeah,
you know, he doesn't want to activate his angel gun, but if he does, oh my god, oh my god, that thing is so strong.
Blows up towns.
Oh, so yes, Vash the Stampede is my number one hero when it comes to anime.
Great choice, honestly.
Thank you very much. Okay, though, I'm sure, at least I know I am. One thing I like about animes, honestly, just kind of like I talked about video games, because again, they're not real. It's for us to enjoy the entertainment value of. I love villains the most.
Villains are so good
because there's another level of it, because again, it's not real. Like, they're not actually killing people. Nobody's actually getting hurt. So it's fun to see this perspective of something that's not going to actually happen. So, Steph, you have a number one. Who is your number one villain or villainess?
Oh, all right. So another controversial one, because I think I've come to terms
controversy.
I know. I'm ready to get this podcast canceled.
Yeah, we're getting off the air. It was nice knowing. Week 11.
It was nice working with you.
It was great working with you. We'll see you back for season 3 in a couple years when we come back to it.
Oh man, so this was tough for me, because I think I came to realize that I gravitate towards more of the heroes and more of the people who are fighting for good. So even though I think villains are incredible and imperative to the story, it was hard for me. And so I thought about it, and I was like, who is somebody who I really enjoy? But again, their motives, I don't know if I can 100% get behind. Again, and we have to think about this question: do the ends justify the means?
Okay,
and so I picked Lelouch from Code Geass as my number one villain, partly because I love his character. He's one of my favorite characters, but I could never, I think, call him a hero in a way. I think you could put him in the anti-hero category if you want, but I also think you can put him in the villain. But I think he's such a well-written character, and again, he is looking to provide world peace, but he does so at the cost of a lot of people's lives and what he deems is the right way to go about it. And he doesn't really consult other people's ways. Like, there are other characters in Code Geass who are trying to bring about peace in a different way, and he doesn't really listen to that. So it begs the question of, even if what you think is the right thing, like, who are you to decide that alone, with powers that you have? So
I'm so glad you say that, because I thought of because it's been a long time since I watched that one. I pictured anti-hero, right?
Yeah.
And so then when you continue to kind of extrapolate on, I'm like, you know what? You actually drive home a really good point. He had the opportunity to consult others and unabashedly just kind of does his own thing, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, and so there's this one point, and I won't spoil it, but he has this group behind him, and there's a point in the show where he kind of turns against them, and again, it's for this reasoning where it's for the betterment of what he thinks is gonna come of it. But I think when you do that, you have to really think, like, are you the person who can do this just because you happen to have this power? I don't know. Is this an abuse of power? So it really got me thinking about it. And I love his character. I love the way the show goes. Like, the show made me cry like a baby the whole time. Like, it's my second favorite anime, actually, after Fullmetal Alchemist, because I love how I love controversy, I think, because it gets me really thinking. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I don't think I could ever just say he's a hero straight up, but I love his character so much, and so I was like, you know what? I think I feel comfortable putting him as a villain.
I liked, and I really like how, again, basically you treat this entire conversation like an anime, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We said good, we said bad, but we're twisting the rules a little bit here, and you're definitely putting a little extra twist on, and I really appreciate that angle, because it's really fun to go about that, because
I like to live my life as an anime protagonist. No big deal.
I mean, shoot, when you end a stream, you do an anime raid, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Oh,
anime
yeah, we need to have like a whole ending. So we parody the Haruhi Suzumiya ending, because I was like, you know what? We're basically just going to make my stream an anime. It's fine.
All right, Flip.
But yeah.
I think you're up.
I've avoided.
Do you have a number one?
I've avoided everything from FMA Brotherhood up until now.
All right.
Because that is my favorite. But the best villain in my eyes is from that one, and it's Pride.
Oh. All right. But why Pride? Is this just you talking? What's going on?
Exactly, yeah. This is my pride coming through.
That's right. Are you really you? Hold on.
Hold up a second. No, just the fact that, like, you don't expect him to be who he is at first.
Good point.
Definitely blindsides you there. And the fact that he can be everywhere and just hear everything and then plan his stuff in the shadows while being probably one of the most powerful of the sins in that episode.
I'm so glad you say that the everywhere aspect, right? Like, I got a little chill from it, because I remember one of the episodes. I'm not going to give it away again, but one of the individuals who is kind of figuring out stuff's happening realizes actually how powerful he is, and she doesn't like it.
Yeah, exactly.
And like that helplessness, because he can be anywhere, is like, what do you do with somebody that powerful?
Exactly.
I always feel like somebody's watching me.
That's right. Yes, absolutely.
Because he is.
Man.
I love this answer, because it also makes you think about just the sins in general as villains,
Yes.
and it makes us self-reflect as humans, right? Like,
Yes.
the villain elements that we all carry deep inside ourselves, because really they're all just the personification of like human flaws. And so to
Correct.
pick what do you think is the worst human flaw, like, as your favorite villain, in a way, it's I find that an interesting route to go as well. So cool.
And I'm glad you brought up Pride, because we all agree at different points in time, that, like, there's confidence, but then there is a prideful arrogance, which is over the top, yet embodied in this character, right? That, and those little hands. Anybody else? How creepy are those little hands? They could have been normal hands. No, they're little hands. God, oh man, I'm gonna be okay. I'll splash some water on my face.
You need us to hold your hand?
Please, hold my hand. I'm afraid a little hand's gonna grab me real soon. Oh my gosh, don't let him take me away. Oh my gosh, that's good though. So we talked about, like, obviously I talked about greed for a little bit there. You got Pride out there. We also got some good guys from FMA on over there. All right. So now maybe I'm not sure if any of you have this idea coming for my number one villain. And it's a villain. It's not a villainess. Sadly, my other list for video games had a little bit more heroine or villainous action towards it. But this character is an enigma. Comes from Hunter x Hunter.
Ooh.
And his name is Hisoka. He has this amazing ability that is so hard to even understand. He himself, you don't even really know what his real motives are besides maybe fighting people. And he really likes that. But at the same time, he's got such a bloodlust. I think he gets turned on by it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's so cool.
And like, it's okay. So for those that don't know about Hunter x Hunter, Hunter x Hunter is an anime that is about the hunter trials initially. You want to become a hunter because that's how you're going to make a lot of money. You'll be able to travel the world. You're doing grandiose things. You can almost kind of picture like being a professional sports player. You are doing something most people would love to do, but physically might not be able to, or mentally not be able to maintain over a long period of time. So Hunter x Hunter has the main character, which is a good character, which is Gon, and he's a 12-year-old boy. His next, he meets up with someone named Killua, who becomes a really good friend, but also a very young 12 to 13-year-old boy. Okay, here's Hisoka. This guy is pretty much a very clown-like / jester-like version of the Joker. If it's fair to say, he has very Joker-like
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
parts about him, right? His chaoticness or chaotic isms come from this fact that because he can.
Yeah,
he really has no other reason besides he wants
really
to.
it.
And you would think that would offend me because all my heroes are pure, they're selfless. But that's why I like it, is because it's so ridiculous. It's so out there. And so when it comes to Hisoka, even though I get both repulsed by him getting turned on, oh, Gon, that at the same time, it just emphasizes his creepy and villain-likeness because he wants to do it supposedly so he can fight Gon when Gon is finally at his most powerful.
Yeah, when
That's my assumption
ripe
with it.
and plump and
Yeah.
ready to be picked off the
Yes.
tree.
Oh, that's so gross, but so true.
It is.
Oh my gosh. So that's why he is my favorite villain, because if for those that did not catch, it was episode 6, if I'm not mistaken, where Flib and I talked about the video game heroes, heroines, villains,
Yes.
villainesses there, that Kefka was actually both of our number one villain.
Exactly.
Right? I was like, dang it, are Flib and I going to bump heads again on this? So we'll see here. But that's also, if you pick on some of the ideas or my tropes that I enjoy when it comes to villains, it's because why? And you have to keep watching to learn why. You want to know more.
Yeah.
And so that's why he comes out to being one of those, just the perfect enigma to watch on anime.
I think that's an incredible answer. It's so true. And I think it's so crazy to think the types of characters you see in anime. You know, you really get
Right.
the whole spectrum from your blandest, run-of-the-mill, like high school boy to the most eccentric villains that you
Yes,
could come
yes.
across. Oh my gosh. I think that's a great one.
So I'm going to go really quick with a quick lightning round here for us before we get in and wrap things up. I think a quick honorable mentions wouldn't be bad. If you, Steph, if you would like to tell us one more just real quick hero or villain that you just like want to mention, even if it doesn't end up really being your third, you just want to mention them because like, I want to talk about that for like 2 seconds. And any
Ooh.
heroes or villains or both that you happen to have that would fill that bill.
So we mentioned a lack of villainesses, so you got me thinking while we were talking just now. I was like, who would I pick as a villainess just to kind of have that representation in there? And I would probably pick Medusa from Soul Eater. She's just fun to watch.
Oh my
Okay.
I think
Okay.
that, like, not even, there's no controversy there. Like, she's crazy, but
She's crazy.
but
She's evil.
but she's fun to watch. Like, you see her and you're like, oh my god. So I think she's a nice honorable mention there.
That's a good honorable mention.
Yeah.
Any more heroes or heroines that you would like to honorably mention?
Ooh, I gotta think. There's so many characters I love and can
Mhm.
consider heroes for so many things. Come back to me for a hero, I think.
No
I gotta
problem.
think on it.
Flibbityflam. I'm going to put this out there real quick. I am surprised that I didn't hear this hero from you. Go.
Which one?
He's kind of an anti-hero.
Oh God. Refresh my memory.
It comes from Trigun, and he has a lot of guns.
Oh,
And he
you're
is
right.
like he is like Vash's buddy.
You're right. I did not mention Wolfwood.
I was gonna say, I thought Wolfwood might be up there.
I
for
thought,
you. So I was like,
he's
hey,
definitely a good honorable
mention.
mention. Yeah, but yeah, that's definitely it because he is like an anti-hero because he's not afraid to kill like Vash is. He'll do it if it's necessary.
If it's necessary, and he's a priest, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember it all correctly. And so him being a priest, when you really learn his story, give or take, he has a good reason.
He does.
For what he's doing. You know, it might not be the right path, but he's got a valid reason. And when you look to see what he's protecting, you're kind of like, wow, that's the gravity of the situation. Oh my goodness. Okay. So yeah, I was expecting to hear some Wolfwood from you just because I was like, dude, like he loves that guy. Come on, where's it at? Where's it at?
Wolfwood. He's such a good just character overall.
All right. Any villains or villainesses you would like to mention?
I think a good honorable mention from FMA again, a villainess is Lust.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd say Lust.
Oh, good answer. Good answer.
Because Lust
she is so just vile, right?
Yeah, connivingly evil and vile. And
you know, like, I feel gross sometimes when I think about her because, like, she just doesn't care. It feels
not. Yeah. No,
you know, like all the others have like reasons for what they do for the most part. Like she just fucks around.
She does. She wants to kill people. She does not care. She doesn't have an end goal in mind or anything like that. Just like, oh, you pissed me off. Well, I'm gonna kill you. That's how this goes.
Gosh, that's a good one. I really like one of the scenes later when she gets a little comeuppance, you know, and that was intense too.
Oh god, that was
that
good.
was intense. All right. I got some honorable mentions
like,
too
where's
here.
All
right. So to be fair, sadly, this is gonna be a hero/heroine double combo for when it comes to this. Why? Because they're brother and sister, the Armstrongs. I love Alexander Louise Armstrong, but I actually really, really love his sister, General Olivier Armstrong, because she is such a badass.
I agree.
Oh,
for her.
Like, oh my god, like her way of leading, you know, but like she's not 100% stone, but gosh darn, it's hard to get to the nougat of that individual.
Oh my gosh.
It is
so,
and she's super strong too, and she doesn't even use alchemy.
No, that's a good point, right? Like her power is really her resolve. I feel like, like if if alchemy was her thing, it would just be her resolve that you could not convince her of what her path was going to be. So that's why I like them. And I'll be honest, why do I like Alex Louise Armstrong, if I can say his name right now, is because he sparkles.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sorry, but that's so great. I love that.
Can confirm. Best reason.
I love that.
Those sparkles been passed down the family for generations.
Yes. Okay, and to finish up my villain or villainesses, and then we can go right on back to complete it with Steph before we are done with this amazing anime conversation. My honorable mention for villain actually comes from my actual favorite anime film, from Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, wow.
And so my honorable mention actually is, come on, brain. I did too much buildup. That's what happens. I start talking for so long. And then I'm just like, oh my God.
There it goes.
Vicious. There we go. There we go. Brain. There we go. It finally worked. But Vicious. Again, Vicious is a syndicate individual through and through, right? And like really, there's no like he's got no real like he's already done everything at this point in time in his life. When you're introduced to him, when you learn some of his backstory, when you start to learn, you know, as the story goes along, and there's no other reason. He just wants to screw over Spike. That's literally what he's trying to do. He just scared, like, you know what? A wolf never loses its fangs. And, you know, it's like, it's all these like constant just one-liners from him. And it's like, God, you're so self-absorbed. What is wrong with you? But that's why it's an honorable mention for me.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Thank
that's
you.
That's a really good pick. Ooh.
All
So
right,
I thought
Phil.
about who I wanted for my heroine to keep with this theme, because you challenged me when you were
I was
like, "Yo,
hoping
we haven't
so.
talking." I was like, you know what? I gotta think. I definitely have favorite ladies who we gotta represent out here. And
Perfect.
we talked about this on Twitter. Urza
Ah,
Scarlet.
there we
is
go.
a
Urza
thing.
Talk about it. Like, there's
Scarlet.
emotes. It's part of the
Oh my
anime attack
god,
pipe.
I love her so much. Oh my gosh, Urza, her story is great. She is a beautiful and strong woman. So yes, I
Her
would definitely pick
story.
Urza.
That right there, when you said that, that is the truth. Like, she's a badass. We know that when the anime starts, right? Like,
Mhm.
she is a badass. But I think it's what, technically like season 2 or 3. I always get lost because there's so many episodes. I
There's
don't know
a
what counts as a
lot.
season
That's a
anymore.
big
for
Her
that.
the best
episode.
arc is, I think, around like the episode 40s. I don't know them by
Okay, yeah,
season. I know
something
them
like
by
that. When you
their
really learn
numbers.
her,
Where she
and what her
came
other connections
from.
are,
Yeah.
and
Oh
it's like
yeah.
it just changes everything because you don't expect to see a vulnerable version of her.
Oh my god, I
Yeah.
know.
And then when she's powerful, like now it makes me even feel strong. Again, when I talked about the resolve about General Armstrong, right? And her, that's somebody else who's got like resolve up the yin yang. Like that is impressive to me. And I love every time she shows off a new suit and she's just super badass all the
Oh
time.
my
That's such a
God.
great pick. So
I
good.
also love that because I love character customization in games. So I feel like Urza also represents my love for having infinite outfits. Like when you're picking your character, I kid you not, I will spend like hours trying to pick an outfit. Yeah, whether it's Animal Crossing or Final Fantasy or Code Vein has great character customization. Like, oh, it's great.
That's awesome. That's another great reason because yeah, I just think that she always has some really cool designs. I think
And
there's
she loves
only one.
sweets.
There's only one I might have thought that wasn't as spectacular, but that's it. Think how many others that she actually does. I'm
She
like,
has so
that's
many.
that is cool.
And
I like
You
also-
it.
don't love her in a big strawberry outfit?
Yeah.
Is that the one? Maybe that was the one. I was like, okay, you guys are doing some fan service.
Yeah,
Come
this
on,
is-
now,
yeah.
work with me here.
It also
Work with
seems
me.
like the less clothes she has on, the more powerful the outfit is too.
That's
Which
true. It
is
seemed like what was that one she
hilarious.
had? She was so like unstoppable with it. Like, oh,
The like
I gotta watch it
samurai
again.
one, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Gotta
my
watch it
favorite.
again.
Oh, I love
Yeah, it's
there we
good.
go. Yeah, nice.
I think it's like the Flame Empress is the name
Yes,
of the armor.
yes,
So
yeah.
good.
Well, I would like to transition now into the Flame Empress that we have here with us, StephOfAnime.
Yes.
Beautiful transition. Oh my God.
With that,
Beautiful.
I feel it'd be really great for you to tell all the listeners out there a little bit about yourself. How can we find you? Do you have anything coming up that's exciting that you want to share with us so we can go ahead and be there and watch it, tune in, whatever? Fill us in.
Oh my gosh. Oh, well, once again, thank you so much for having me. My name is Steph. You can catch me at twitch.tv/StephOfAnime, as well as on other social media platforms like YouTube and Twitter and Instagram, all sorts of stuff like that. You catch me live at around 9 p.m. Eastern time most days of the week, except for Mondays and Tuesdays. I love Pokemon, so if you're into competitive Pokemon or even just Pokemon from a casual standpoint, I'm doing lots of Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Final Fantasy 14, games like that, big into RPGs, and I just love having a good time and chatting about anime specifically. That's why I put it in my name. As for exciting things, well, by the time this podcast comes out, I'll just be finished doing a big charity weekend marathon called Pokeathon. So definitely be on the lookout for some more stuff coming soon. I love to do charity events and just other big things here and there. So like every few months we do something special. So that'll, I think, have just happened around the time that this comes out. So you can check out the VOD and also donate to Direct Relief. There'll probably be a link somewhere by the time this comes out. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. Because
Yeah,
I always
thank
like when
you.
people are able to, fill us in about themselves because we enjoy having you on here, right? But we want our people to find you because that's the reason we wanted you on here because you're an awesome person. So thank you for
guys
joining
are
us.
awesome. Oh my gosh, I had so much
Oh,
fun. I feel like we could keep
shucks.
talking for hours and hours. Like I feel like this conversation has already opened up 3 million avenues of other anime related discussions. And if you guys had any cool ideas of some more podcast topics, you should let us all know because I just want to talk about this continuously.
Yeah, like, let's just record the next 6 episodes. We
Yes.
got this thing. Let's go.
Yep. You
But
can't
yes,
get rid of me now. I'm
honestly,
stuck.
thank you so much for being here because we could easily just keep going forever and ever. But with that being said, it was so awesome to have you on this episode. Flibbityflam, thank you again, dude, for being my compatriot when it comes to this kind of stuff because you guys can tell out there I talk a lot, so I need him to even me out a little bit.
It makes it easy on the editing side. So I'm happy.
All right, folks,
Thank
Dreamers, Flam family, and Steph of Anime. What's the correct terminology for your viewers?
We're the Anime Club. It's very
Anime
fitting.
Club. There it is.
Heck
Perfect.
yeah.
Thank you all for listening, and bye-bye.
Bye.